Have you ever asked yourself why the universe would allow you to meet someone you can't have? Why it would create such a strong connection only to make it impossible to stay together? It's one of the cruelest feelings, to recognize a bond so deep, so undeniable, and yet know somewhere deep inside that it can't be fulfilled. That no matter how much you both might want it, life, timing, circumstances, or even your own growth demands something else. It's in these moments that we realize the universe doesn't always send us people to stay. Sometimes it sends them to awaken parts of us we would have never touched otherwise. Carl Jung believed that meaningful connections don't come from the rational mind. They rise from the unconscious. They are part of the self's unfolding, a way for the deeper psyche to call us toward transformation. When two souls meet and ignite something powerful, it's rarely about building a simple, easy life together. It's often about triggering the very growth that otherwise would have taken years, or might never have happened at all. You meet someone, and suddenly all the things you thought were healed surface again. Insecurities you buried, wounds you pretended not to feel, dreams you abandoned long ago start whispering back to you. It's not accidental, it's orchestrated. And while part of you wants to hold on, to force the connection into something safe and permanent, another part, a deeper, wiser part, knows that the real purpose was never about possession. It was about awakening. The human heart craves certainty, belonging, permanence. But the soul craves growth, truth, awakening. And sometimes those two desires tear us apart inside. You can feel intense love for someone and still not be meant to walk a lifelong path with them. Love is not always a destination. Sometimes it's a doorway, and once you've stepped through, the door closes behind you. Jung spoke about synchronicity, the idea that events, meetings, and connections happen not by chance, but through the alignment of deeper realities. When you meet someone and feel an overwhelming recognition, it's not just chemistry, it's a collision of timelines, a meeting orchestrated by the unconscious forces that guide human destiny. The pain that follows is not a mistake. It's a necessary fracture in the shell you've built around yourself. You may think, if the universe wanted to teach me, why couldn't it do it without breaking me, without giving me something so beautiful only to take it away? But growth, real growth, rarely happens in comfort. It's the breaking, the longing, the unanswered questions that force you into depths you would have never explored otherwise. It's in the loss that you find yourself, or at least the parts you were afraid to face. The universe doesn't operate by human standards of fairness. It doesn't prioritize comfort over transformation. It moves in patterns of expansion, in waves of awakening. And sometimes, the price of awakening is the loss of what you most deeply wanted. The person you can't forget was not a punishment. They were a mirror, a catalyst, a messenger carrying a piece of your own soul's forgotten story. You needed to meet them. You needed to love them. You needed to lose them. Because through that process you would remember something essential about who you are. Something that no amount of comfort, no amount of easy love could have ever revealed to you. When you can't forget someone, it's because they touched the parts of you that are still unfinished. They stirred what was dormant. They pulled you toward the life you were meant to awaken into. Not because they were supposed to walk beside you, but because they were meant to open the door you were too afraid to approach alone. It hurts. It confuses. It feels unjust. But when you look deeper, when you stop asking, why did they leave? And start asking, what did they awaken in me? That's when the true meaning begins to emerge. Maybe they awakened your ability to feel again after you shut yourself down for years. Maybe they showed you the patterns you needed to break, the self-sabotage, the fear, the self-betrayal. Maybe they cracked open the wall you built around your heart, reminding you that vulnerability is not weakness, but life itself. Jung said that the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. You met them, and you changed. They touched your chemistry, not just your emotions. And that change was the real purpose. Not the fantasy, not the fairy tale, but the alchemy of the soul. You're not broken because you can't forget them. You're not weak because it still hurts. You're human. And your soul knows that some connections are meant to carve themselves into you because the person you become afterward will never be the same. Maybe you weren't meant to be with them. Maybe you were meant to meet yourself through them. It's easy to believe that if a connection is real, it should work. That love should be enough. That mutual feeling should naturally lead to a shared life. But the truth is harsher and deeper than we want to admit. Not every real connection is meant for permanence. Some are meant to burn bright and leave ashes, not roots. The universe sends certain people to collide with you, not to stay, but to ignite something sacred and painful at the same time. They awaken your dormant longings, your deepest fears, your unfinished healing. They walk into your life like a match to dry wood, and nothing looks the same afterward. You feel the burn and you think you've lost something, when in reality you've been set free from something you didn't even know was trapping you. Carl Jung often emphasized the importance of confronting the unconscious, the parts of ourselves we don't see, don't want to see, or can't yet accept. Love, especially the kind that feels fated yet impossible, forces us to meet these hidden parts. It brings the unconscious to the surface with brutal clarity. You see your neediness, your fear of abandonment, your idealizations, your wounds, and you can't unsee them. When two souls meet but cannot stay together, it's often because their meeting was about activation, not attachment. One soul needed to catalyze the other's growth. One needed to mirror back the unseen truths. And once the mirror does its job, the physical connection often dissolves, not out of cruelty but out of necessity. You might think you failed because you couldn't make it work, but maybe succeeding would have kept you asleep. Maybe holding on to them would have kept you trapped in old patterns, unable to evolve beyond the self you were before they arrived. We often want relationships to be safe harbors, comfort zones, but many of the most important connections are storms, violent, beautiful, transformative. They tear apart everything false and leave you raw, exposed, terrified. And in that terror, you find your real strength. You learn to stand on your own 2 feet. You learn to comfort yourself when no one else is there. You learn to breathe through heartbreak and still choose growth. And slowly, you realize that the person you became because of them is far more powerful, awakened and aligned than the person you were before they entered your life. That is the real gift. That is the true connection, not the staying, but the becoming.